This podcast is intended for adults only. We do not condone the use of any illegal substances, and anything we consume is for educational purposes only.
Because, we should be afraid of a plant that grows from the ground. And, endocannabinoid system is, it's in your body and it produces cannabinoids. I mean, you know what? I'm going to stop because I'm going to rant. Just play the music, Mitch.
Side, man, what a time it is to be alive. See, I'm charged up, feeling energized, do the enterprise, move supersize. Y'all extra like a side of fries. Whoa, false guys who you idolize. Yeah, go against us, I would not advise. We know how you see in the room, just look up once and you can find us. Our songs should have more plays, but we too though, they rewind us. All my targets lined up, every day my girl get fined up. All my clothes is local, bitch, I really write.
Hey, what's up, everybody? You're listening to the Canna Kuya podcast, where we are cultivating conversations concerning cannabis, culture, and creativity. I'm one of your hosts. My name is Mitch Narito.
And I am Erick Esteban, and we are fresh from our first ever Canna Kuya Comedy Tour trip to Chicago, and that's why we're doing this remotely, because if you can hear from Mitch's voice, he's draining from the cold that he caught in Chicago.
That public transit,
how did you
man.
feel, man? I want, huh?
Public transit.
Public transit.
Yeah.
No, it was the story how I picked you up in the airport and what happened on our way to because I just go ahead. I don't even want to just tell him.
I don't know. So I was supposed to leave Burbank at 7 a.m. I didn't leave Burbank until 4 p.m. So I didn't get in until practically midnight. It was pretty much midnight when we got in
about midnight, but then you didn't get your bags and luggage until like 12:45 probably.
And then we had to wait
around that time at the baggage claim.
And then we had to wait for the trains because there weren't as many running for some reason, I guess, because it was late.
Because it was the middle of the night.
Yeah, we got on the trains and it was cold. It's nothing I've never experienced before, but it was just it was kind of like, oh man, this is a lot. And I don't know, for me when I travel, especially when I'm in a new city, I just when I don't know the layout, I just have my guard up just a little bit. So,
as you should, bro. As you should. I was saying even at the time, I'm I got my guard up too. I'm just relaxed because I'm used to the surroundings. But at the same time, my guard is still way to fuck up because we're on the train in the middle of the night.
Yeah, and then there's Chicago transit, LA transit's not any better by any means. It's the same deal. You get your run of the mill vagrants, and then some people that might not be mentally well. But yeah, I'm just glad that I was traveling with two other Filipino dudes and we look kind of grimy ourselves. So it was no one wanted to mess with us.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah,
we did. We
so no one was trying to really mess with us. But there were moments when I was just
clearly looked like tourists.
Yeah, there were points where okay, am I gonna have to shank someone tonight, or am I gonna get shanked? I don't know.
No, I knew. I knew we would just have to deal with a little weirdness, and it would be a fun little show. And then we got to the spot, and the thing that was hilarious to me was when Mikey ordered food, and he thought because the prices were so much cheaper, and he's like $8.50 for a triple burger and fries. No, there's no way. I have to add fries. It's gonna be add fries.
It wasn't even that much. It was $6.75,
bro.
It was $6.75 for a triple cheeseburger and then fries. And then we were
Mikey ordered an extra fries, but then they gave him.
They just gave him whatever was in the freaking fry basket. This, it's ridiculous.
It was 2 a.m. when they got the order. So I'm thinking, well, here's what we got left. These guys want fries because they keep ordering ad fries.
They really must want fries.
Yeah,
but no, Chicago
was great, man.
Chicago was great. I've been there before, and for one, the people are cool. The people are mad cool in Chicago. The city is beautiful. I think I mentioned it reminded me of other Midwest cities. I've been to Detroit It reminded me a lot of Detroit. It did remind me of like New York a little bit, but way less busy. There were a couple parts where I was like, oh, okay, this reminds me of a big city. But for the most part, like it was really cool. Like people showed a lot of love, and I had a good time, man. I had a good time.
So what were the shows like for you? How did you feel? Because this was your first. Was this your first show outside of LA? Like as far as stand-up comedy? Like I can't remember. Was it? Yes.
First out of California. Yeah. Like because
Okay, yeah.
like I've done like San Diego.
Yeah, I know.
I've
We've
done
done
like some other stuff. Yeah.
too, yeah.
But yeah, first
Chicago.
time out of California, and that was nice because like I wasn't sure what to expect because we've talked about it on the show before, like just my view on how I view myself as a comic, or in terms of like creativity and all that. Like it was good to know that like I can deliver to an audience that's not familiar with me, that knows nothing about me. Like I can go in and
it's really familiar with you because some people came up to you like this kid in Wrigleyville that was like bum rushed your ass. That was hilarious. Where he was like, "Oh my God, I know you." Oh my, that was a trip. That was so funny for me. That was so good for me to be able to watch you experience that and be geeked out by some Good Place fan who was really happy about seeing you and bumping into you in Wrigleyville on St. Patrick's Day, no less.
That was cool.
His Filipino weed leprechaun Donkey Dog appeared in front of him on St. Patrick's Day.
But I thought that was funny too, because like so Eric and I and Mikey, we all had a bet going because like Eric was like, "Oh man, you don't even know like people in the Midwest, like you're like you're Donkey Doug, like that's like in LA that's like whatever, like but out there it's a little more special." I was like, "Nah, man, like it's gonna be the same. It's gonna be the same." So we had a pretty much like we had a bet going on. It was over under. It was like, oh, someone was gonna stop me in the streets of Chicago, and I was like, no, that's not gonna happen. And unless I actively tell people and I'm a douche about it, I'm like, hey guys, we
qualified it because when you got introed at the comedy club, they told everybody said you appeared on The Good Place. They even just said, I don't think they said the role because you have a joke about it. So I don't think they said the role, but they said that you've appeared on The Good Place. So they knew that if they recognized you from there, they like in the comedy club that you were introduced for that. So
yeah, so people, that kind of helps. But like in my head, like Eric keeps thinking like, oh, like I'm like, like Leo DiCaprio or someone that's gonna get mobbed in the streets, and that's for me that like I knew that just wasn't gonna happen. But like I did get that one fan in Wrigleyville. He was like, hold up, like he straight up he's like,
not just the one fan in Wrigleyville. That really cutie pie at the Lincoln Lodge after the show.
Oh yeah, she wasn't in the show.
No, she was in another show down the hall because it was the Lincoln Lodge. So they had like 3 shows going on. She was on. So I think she was another comic who was on another show, and she stopped before she went into her show to be like, "Oh my God, I love you."
Okay, so that one might count because like no one told her. No one told her. No one told her.
She was really cute too, so that really counts.
I guess.
And we know he didn't do nothing, guys. We're both married men. We're just happy when attractive women show us attention. It's nothing bad. It's all good. But no, but it was fun for me because all that shit happened on Sunday, on your last full day there, on St. Patrick's Day. When all of it so the bet because when the dude recognized you, I don't know, did we tell you this? When the dude recognized you, and Mikey and I walked away so you could have your moment, and Mikey goes, "I guess you won the bet."
I guess you did.
No, but I was just happy it made me really happy that you could enjoy yourself because I mean seriously, that whole trip between booking the comics in Chicago, bringing you all with me, and then having you all rock the shows. I mean, that was like my goal since one of the first shows I did in Chicago is to be
to talk about more about how you felt, like you got to bring a little bit of LA to Chicago.
Man, I don't know if you've been following me on Instagram. You can see it over here on here. But if you follow me on Instagram, you can tell I've been emotional for this whole week since I got back from Chicago, man. I actually almost don't even want to talk about it live to you because I'm just staring at you in your face, and I don't like this FaceTime shit. I'd rather be with you in person. But it hit differently, man. This show hit so different because. So I was listening to Lil Rel, the podcast that he just did with Shannon Sharp, and he's a Chicago comic. And he was just talking about how, like, we just grind, and then you get that one shot, and most of the time it's usually from like a homie or somebody that you came up with that, and part of his whole thing was like, be good to all the people that you come up with, because you don't know who's gonna go up faster, or you know what I mean, who's gonna climb their ladder faster or slower. And so, the fact that Mars gave me that opportunity, and then I was able to parlay that into, an opportunity with 4x3 to shoot my second special. I mean, that it is a trip, and the fact that 4x3 asked me on the year anniversary of the day we filmed the fucking first special, and they're like, yeah, well, if you're headlining at the Comedy Plex, we got to film the whole weekend. And then they filmed the whole weekend, man. And it was fun too, because part of some of the jokes that I wrote for the nights that we were performing, it was because we were hanging out in Chicago and we were walking around and we saw who we saw and all the different people and the different sites, and then we saw Sammy Sosa, and then I wrote that joke that I ended up writing a joke about Sammy Sosa where it was my opener the first night, and then I worked on it and tweaked on it while we were, during the day in my head. And then it turned out it ended up being my closer for the end show. So they could have a different, and it was a trip, man, because that whole thing was like, it taught me how to be a headliner. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like, okay, I know how to do this now. So if another club wants to book me as a headliner, okay, cool. I got my hour and I have my features. So if you want to bring us, we'll bring a whole bunch of Filipinos to your club. That's kind of where I'm at with it now. So I'm excited about the fact that, it worked to the degree that it worked, No,
and that's like, when you say that, that's interesting because like, the shows that we did at the Comedy Plex, and then the one show at the Lincoln Lodge, there weren't a lot of Filipinos. It wasn't a Filipino crowd at all, which kind of surprised me because, not saying that like, Filipinos didn't show up, but just to have, like a Phil-Am comedy jam, and then for the audience to not be majority Filipino, but still like respond the way they did to the jokes and just be so supportive and just show the love that they showed. Like they were just really there for the comedy. They just wanted to have a good time. And I'm glad that we were able to give that to them.
See, and now you got to give props to the Comedy Plex, because to be honest, homie, I mean, if I'm being truly honest, I'm not a draw anywhere. You know what I'm saying? We can't even get motherfuckers to come to the good night. You know what I'm saying? Like, so the idea that they put me in that position, and then because of that, the perception is 9/10 of reality. You know what I'm saying? So you book somebody as a headliner, now you think, oh, they're a headliner now. So now people come, so it's just this, it's another rung on the ladder. You know what I'm saying? And that was part of why I wanted to have you guys there with me, because at the end of the day, I can't do this by myself. I know I can't. I know I can't. And if you look at all the other comics that are Joe and Joey, Joe and Joey have been doing shows together for years. They were doing shows like us at the Good Night, and now they're doing shows at the Forum and Staples Center. But it's just, that's the grind. And I'm not, look, do I want to do arenas and shit? I almost don't want to do that, because at the end of the day, we're both actors, bro. I said this to you when we started doing this podcast and when we started doing all this stuff with the stand-up. All this stuff is just to focus on the fact that we're really funny and we can do any comedic role that you want to put in front of us. we can also act our ass off and do whatever you want. And we got stage presence. We got all, you know what I'm saying? Like that's why I wanted you there with me, because you're a good ass actor. So when we start writing these movies and writing these comedic scripts, then you're right there with me, and you can direct me and tell me, yo, Eric, you're a little bit crazy. Maybe go smoke a joint and chill out for a minute.
Yeah, no, but like for real though, like
man,
shout out to like Mars Timms, co-owner of the Comedyplex, Chris. I don't know Chris's last name, but
I don't even know Chris's last name. I don't think I'll ask Mars if Chris has a Instagram. I don't think Chris has an Instagram, but Bernard. Yeah.
Which one was Bernard?
The guy who did all the production. Huh?
I thought that guy's name was Sherman.
Huh?
Sherman.
You are correct. That's why I hesitated on Bernard, because I know another guy who looks just like Sherman, but wrong. I see. That's why I hesitated. I was like, nope, that's not it. That's wrong. It's Sherman, because Sherman was the guy, dude. Okay. If there's anything about Chicago that I will, if it's bragging, whatever, I don't care if it's perceived that way, but like the only thing that I will say that meant, okay, I almost don't want to talk about it because I'm thinking about it and I got a lump in my throat. But when they put my fucking picture on the wall, yo,
yeah, that's dope. That's like you have a little piece of you in Chicago at all times, you know?
Well, but that's also a starting out in see, look at this stupid shit. No, but starting out in Chicago, all you wanted was that shit. That's all you wanted was your picture on the wall. So
no, that's another one. Like you're moving up. Like that's another check off your list. You know, like that's a really big accomplishment, man. And you should, you know, like be proud of that, because you know, like not everyone has that. Like not all the comics can say it's like, hey, yeah, like I got like a headline plaque or picture at a new spot. You know, like. That's dope.
Dude, and it says special live taping type shit on the thing. You know what I mean? Like, come on, man. Like it was a trip. And like, and then if you think about how far Mars and I go back, where we were doing, you know, we were on the Nintendo Street Team, and I'm told the truth. I'm not on the Nintendo Street Team. I was a motherfucking extra on that commercial. And we were just friends from Second City and knew each other. So we were friends and connected on that commercial set. But I was an extra on that commercial. So Mars was a principal on that commercial set. So, yeah, man. And to be able to have and to have that relationship for that long, from like the late 90s, and now we're here, and he can make me a headliner in his brand new comedy club. Too much, man.
No,
too much.
And shout out to Ronnie Ray too. Like being able to put me on, and thank you for that. You know, like you didn't have to do that. Like I always,
yes, I did.
No, like okay. In terms of like how I view the comic world and like how the business side of it works, right? Like I always appreciate like when people that have no reason to put me on or whatever, like they don't know me from like whatever, like. But for them to just like be gracious enough to be like, hey, you know, like go do some time, you know, like knock yourself out. Welcome to the city, you know, like that's a big deal, you know, like I'm very appreciative of that, because I know that they're, you know, just from my experience in Los Angeles, there's a bunch of fools that they're all talked about like, oh yeah, come do my show, I got you, you know, like whatever, and then it's like. Oh yeah,
but you gotta up on DM and then they ghost you.
Yeah, like it's like, who are you? Like, you know, like just to know that there are folks out there that, and that speaks a lot to like to the friends and the relationships you've made. You know, like for them to like just be like, oh, you're peeps with Eric. Okay, yeah, like let's do it. You know, like, and just to have that be enough. You know, like that's a big thing. You know, like all the comics that came out, all the Filipino comics, like. Tony, Leia, freaking Mark, you know, all those guys, you know, like for them just to like extend that olive branch and just be like, hey, yeah, like let's kick it, you know, like you're in town, like let's treat you like a guest, you know, like That's
I'll tell
a
you right
big
now,
thing.
that Chinatown dinner was probably one of the best meals and one of the best nights of fun I've had in a minute. Like that was just fun. That was just a fun night, just hanging out with the homies, eating delicious Chinese food. And am I right? That was. If I can duplicate that every time I come home to Chicago, I am down for that every time.
No, but that was funny to me because like it just really accentuated the fact that like Filipinos are not as big of a group in Chicago. There are Filipinos out there, but it's not as big of a group as they are here in LA. Because like in LA, if you get like a group of Filipinos to roll into a Chinese restaurant, like staff will be like, "Oh, okay, they came to throw down," you know. But like when we were there, the dude was offended that we were ordering so much. Like he was like, "You owed us so much food. How
You
come?"
ordered too much.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, but we ate it all. We paid you for it, and we tipped you
And you
on
didn't
top.
bring
So
any
like,
leftovers home. No,
yeah, no, it was straight up, like,
not a box.
straight up. The dude was like, "What?" Like he couldn't believe it, and like there was like a group of like 20, like there was a legit group of 20 people, like at a couple tables next to us, and they did not order as much, and I'm pretty sure they did not like take, like they took stuff home, because they ordered like not people were too shy or whatever, like.
You had what? There was 6 Filipino comics there, and all of us had done a show that night, and we were ready to throw down. We were all hungry that night, man. So, man, I don't think I had eaten the whole day until that point, because that's how I get when I have to do longer shows. I won't eat the whole day until after the show, and I'll just I'll drink a Red Bull, or I'll drink some coffee, and then do the show, and then I'll eat after the show, because I don't know, I don't like performing with stuff in my stomach. But anyhow, now let's
like
talk about the merch. And really? You have to have something in your stomach?
No, dude, like, yeah, like what was it before the first night I had like a sandwich from Potbelly's, and then the night before, and then the other night I was just eating random stuff just throughout the day, because I was like, I need to have something in me, because like I don't know, like
my favorite meal was the Harry Carey. That
was a good ass meal.
Yeah, that was good ass food, man. That was good. And that cider, I gotta remember. I gotta go look on my phone and take a look and see if we can get that cider out here. But let's talk about the merch, man. Let's talk about the merch and see, because I feel like people really responded to the Canna Kuya merch. I do. I think they liked it. I think all the comics wanted some. All the staff at Comedyplex wanted some. So instead of tipping people, I just gave them merch, because that worked out better for me, because they really liked it. So and then Alicia came in into the Mexican restaurant we were eating at after the show, and she was wearing the merch, and I was like, holy cow, that's awesome. So I feel like the merch was really good. How did you feel about the merch and how people responded to it?
Like I was kind of surprised that like I had a certain expectation that we would have like offloaded a little bit more, but sure. It's fine, like it's fine, like we have enough. And guys, like we're gonna have our website up soon. We're also gonna be at some other spots, like if you guys see us, we'll be slaying our merch and whatnot. But just
be if you're listening to this on Wednesday when it uploads, where like right when we upload this audio, if you're listening, we'll be in San Diego this Friday with Mikey, and we're going to be recording another episode that's kind of similar to this one, because he was also on the Canna Kuya Tour in Chicago. So we're recording another one like this on Friday, but we'll also be live at Mic Drop in the Gold Room at 10 p.m. on Friday. So if you're listening to this on Wednesday when we upload, that Friday, March 29th, we will be at the Mic Drop at the Gold Room. Both Mitch, Mikey, and I, all 3 of us will be there. So if you want to come, say hello, buy some merch, we'll be there in San Diego. And that's the stopping of the plugs and all that stuff. So what do you think, Mitch? What's the next move? What's the next move for us? Because I know we've got some guests planned for the podcast. But what do you think we should do? Where's the next city we should aim to try to hit for the Canna Kuya podcast and the Canna Kuya Comedy Tour?
I think
where would be your comedy wish list of cities?
I think like just based off of like people we know and just like the vibe that I get, like I feel like we should definitely try for somewhere up north. Like we could get together with like the guys from the Bay Area, put something on up there. And
For
then
sure.
also like a Canada tour. Like we could hit up like Big Norm and Keith Pedro and stuff. Like that would be super fun.
Toronto, Toronto, Toronto. Yep, Toronto would be like my next goal would be because okay, so I just to let you know, I bought my ticket to New York. So I got my ticket to New York for May. I'm gonna be in New York in May for the Model Majority comedy show, and I'm just
Nice.
gonna do some. I'm gonna host that. I'm gonna host that sketch show, and I'm going to probably do a set. But then I've also reached out to all my New York homies to see if because I'm gonna try and be in New York for a week in May for the first week of May, and then so I'm also gonna be in Virginia. So think about Virginia in July or June. For the Phil Fest. I'm going to be headlining the Phil Fest in June in Virginia.
Wait,
So
Phil Fest or
if you
Film
want
Fest?
Phil Fest, Filipino Fest,
Filipino?
but they just
Okay.
call it Phil
Okay.
Fest. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, the Phil Fest in Virginia. Yeah. I'm really excited about that because it'll be my third time going back to Virginia and doing that show and at that because they do it in like an outdoor auditorium. So I'm excited about the whole summer because I'm after Chicago, it is mission accomplished because people who booked me nationally saw what happened in Chicago and then they hit the DMs and wanted me to do whatever show they were on or whatever show they were on. So, it's just a matter of booking dates. So I feel like once we start booking, and then of course the second special will come out whenever it comes out. I'm not sure. I'm talking to 4x3 now, but all that stuff is whatever, to be honest right now, because I really want to concentrate on now hitting our audience that we're building here at the Canna Kuya podcast. And, we might hit your city. We may, and our website, like Mitch said, our website is going to be up and running really soon. We're working on it right now. I'm actually working on it right now, which is, it's an arduous task but I'm doing it. I'm doing it for you guys. And I have come into, Chicago and a couple other little things have come into play so that all I'm going to do right now is devote all my time to the podcast that I'm doing and building the websites for those podcasts and building all the merch and dates and booking stuff for us and for the podcast, because man, I'm telling you, we got something here because people have been hitting us up in the DMs on Instagram. Follow us at Canna Kuya Grow. Filipino businesses have been hitting us up. Some people who aren't even used to podcasting or being on camera have been hitting us up, wanting to showcase their Phil-Am business, their Phil-Am Canna business, or Phil Can Canna business. Yo, we'll do this remotely because we're doing this remotely right now. Mitch and I, we're in the city. We're in the same city, and we're about a 20-minute drive away from each other. But Mitch is feeling a little under the weather, so he should just chill at home, and I'll just smoke all of this new Lion's Claw harvest and watch as this Gelato 33 keeps growing and growing and growing, because my goodness.
Yeah. So what happened to your plants,
Mitch.
man? Give the people an update on your plants. Like, oh no, I was gonna say, like, give the people an update on your plants, because you were gone for almost a week. So what was going on with the harvest?
With the plants and the harvest, so you knew I was a little stressed. I was more stressed about leaving the plants at home than I was about the headliner shows, because I know how to do stand-up. I'm still new to growing cannabis, and of course it's the treasured Gelato 33 that's getting ready to be ready. And so I've been kind of researching like the term dry back in growing. A lot of people use that because you stress out your plant. It's a type of crop steering. It almost to teach the plant to know that it's kind of towards the end of its life, because these gelato 33s are going to be about 3 more weeks, and they're probably going to be ready to go. And so, I was worried about it being alone for the week that we were going. Well, not even the week, because I was gone from Wednesday to Monday, so a half a week, so 5 days. So it wasn't really that long, and the drive back says to do it for about a week. So I was cool, man. They came back and they were flourishing. They were beautiful. They looked bigger and better than when I left. So it was really nice to know that I could go away for a weekend and, make sure that they're set for that couple of days. But then when I come back, I don't have to necessarily be in there every day. So, we were talking about before about being obsessed on the podcast and how, I'm trying to figure out a way to balance all my time and balance everything. Doing this podcast helps me not be obsessed looking at those plants, or, instead I'll go reach out to my kids instead of going to have to look at, because I'm just learning, so this whole process was good to learn, even just with the plants, because I left them alone and they were better than if I'd been in there every day, I think, because they were cool. They maintained the same environment for a long period, for like 6 days. Nobody opened or closed the tent. Nobody looked at, they just left alone and to their environment. So it was great. It was great. And then I'm really, it's getting stinky in there is what I'm going to say. The tent that's ready, that's in flower, it's getting stinky in there. So I wanted to ask you, because you mentioned, do you want to talk about this now, or do you want to talk about it later, about how you and Barbara are talking about what you're talking, the plans you're making, and how you might be abstaining for a minute, or we don't have to if you don't want to.
No, it's like, so like, my wife and I, we've been trying to have a kid. And so, we're at the point now where we might be going in for a round of IVF. And if that happens, I probably will have to cut back on my marijuana use significantly, if not altogether. And I've done it before.
Just more
like,
for me.
I mean, like, I went for a period of 2.5 years where I didn't smoke, and that was just recently. Like I had stopped just to make sure, like everything was cool, like just trying to improve my chances as much as possible. Cause, like ideally, sure, like, yeah, we'd like a kid, so if that's something that we do decide on following through on, I can still do the podcast. It's just, I probably won't smoke as much, or, like I might just be taking a break for a little bit. And that's the cool thing about weed. Yeah. For me, it's not addictive. I do like being high, but like I've quit cold turkey multiple times in my life, and I've never really had any problems. I kind of took like a little break because, like I did catch a cold or the flu or whatever. Like,
so you haven't smoked in a minute now?
No, that's not true. Like I smoked today. Cause like, no. Like as soon as I started feeling better, I tried smoking a little bit. It did make me feel better. But like it is like I am coughing up stuff still. So it's kind of like, I don't know how effective like weed actually is. A couple times. Oh, did I? Can you hear me now?
Yeah, you muted yourself. No. You muted yourself a couple times when you were coughing.
Oh, today. Yeah, no, I wasn't coughing. I was just like trying to suck in my snot, so you don't have to hear all that. Well,
I'm really glad that I didn't have to have that on the podcast audio. That I'm sure the people who are listening to the audio of this podcast appreciate that.
No, but I'm pretty sure like people could hear like I'm a little congested. Like I still got like some drainage that needs to happen. I need to get rid of some stuff, and it's been coming out a lot. But yeah, like
that Chicago wind, man, that Chicago wind, it'll get you. It'll get you.
No, you know,
because we were on public transit for a lot, and it was colder than we thought it was going to be, because on the temperatures when we're looking at the weather when we got there, or when I flew there, it was like 60s and 55, and I'm like, oh, okay, cool. But then when we hit, it quickly changed, as Chicago weather often does, and it was cold. So man, you came home with a little bit of a cold. So yeah,
no,
man,
I think I honestly caught it from the plane. If anything, it was the plane, because like people were not being mindful of others on the plane, and I guess here I am. So, but I mean, like I've been recovering. Like the thing that sucks is I got back and I had to miss a whole week of work because like I just couldn't go to work. Like I was already out for a couple of days because of Chicago, and then I was like, I'm not gonna be back before spring break, and now I'm on spring break, so I've just been chilling. I've just been chilling. I don't want to go back to work because it's like I haven't been back to work in so long. So, but I mean, I'm gonna have to bite the bullet at some point and just go back in. But we'll see.
Well, you were a featured comic for my special that's called Unemployable, so there's that.
That's true. I need to be employable, man. I still got bills to pay. Shit.
Hey, we all need to be employable. I'm just saying. Well, if you want to listen to that podcast, I'm also doing another podcast called Miscellaneous and Brown, and that podcast we talk about weed still, but I don't talk about weed as much. And Mitch will be there sometimes, I'm sure, but it's mostly me, and I'm interviewing a bunch of different people. And if you want to listen to that podcast, please do. It's Miscellaneous and Brown. You can listen to it on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or all the places where you get the Canna Kuya podcast, because we're trying to branch out. We're trying to do a whole bunch of different things here. And yeah, so I thought I'd plug that. And Mitch, I mean, we're coming up on 40 minutes now, and I'm really happy again that you were with me, man. I gotta say, like you've been a really good friend to me for a couple of years now, and most of the stuff that I produce and do, I can't do it if you're not right there with me. So I was really happy to be with you there, and that's why, like on Sunday, when Ronnie approached you, yes, being a headliner in my own hometown made me feel great, and rocking that crowd that wasn't all Filipino also made me feel great. But being able to talk to a OG Chicago comedian and be like, yo, just give my time to the homies because they were here from Cali, and I'd rather give them time because shit, I did 2 hours already. I'm good. And for him to be like, hey, if it's cool with you, I'm down with it. And that felt so good to me. That made me feel so like it was my hometown just being like, I got you, dog. You know what I'm saying? So it really did it made me feel like a G. So it made me feel great to be able to give you that. So I had to do that. I appreciate it. I'm glad that
I really appreciate it.
And you fucking killed it, bro. You killed it. You killed that set, and so did Mikey. So it just made me look even better. You know what I'm saying? So it just
straight up, like that's what I was thinking about. That I was like, oh man, I'm glad that Eric, like afterwards, like the main bookers were like, who the hell are these guys? They're like, oh, okay, cool, you brought it. Like it wasn't like, like what I mean. Like sometimes you bring out a homie and then they don't do so well, and they're like, hey, yeah, we can't do that again, or like we shouldn't do that again. So for you to be able to be like, hey, yeah, your homies are chill, like that's cool.
No, the best part, that was probably one of the best parts of the trip, was when we were, because it's like the full circle moment, and it's the perfect way to end the podcast. So we're at the end of the show, and Ronnie's there, and that cat who had that funny dog joke. What was his name?
Lance,
really funny dude with a real expressive face. Lance Allen was there, and then Mikey was there, and me and you were there. Well, all three of us were there, and we were all just chilling there at one of those fucking old ass, because I mean Lincoln Lodge is one of the longest running independent Chicago showcases in Chicago, like is one of in the country, not even just in Chicago. It's been around for a long fucking time. So it's like one of them old ass, like the wood bar and shit, and we're all taking a picture there, and we're all just posed And Ronnie's like, take one with serious face, and then take one smiling. And then he said, the serious face one, I'm gonna make it black and white because it's like a gangster photo. And that was the best feeling for me because we were all just Chicago comedy gangsters in that moment. And it was at Lincoln Lodge where I filmed my first special. So it was a very special moment for me, man. And it was a full circle moment for me. So it was very cool to be able to do all of that shit that night with you and that whole weekend, man. It was very special and I'll never forget it. And now we can chronicle it on this podcast and it's great and it's cool as fuck. But you know, if you want more of this, and we're gonna go get more into cannabis again next episode, because we're hoping to get Muffin B. Puffin on the show. We're hoping to get a few other cannabis dignitaries on the show that I'm working on through the DMs and on on YouTube to see if we can get Mitch and me to interview some really cool cannabis people that'll give you some really good cannabis knowledge and just get and enlighten us on some stuff that we have questions about. So stay tuned to the Canna Kuya podcast because we're about to bring you a whole bunch of different things. And also stay tuned because we're about to give you a website where you can get all the Canna Kuya merch. And on 420, we should close with this because 420 is where we're gonna celebrate. We're gonna celebrate with some friends, a Filipino filmmaker who made the first Tagalog. Well, it's not Tagalog, it's Cebuano because there's a bunch of different dialects in the Philippines. He made the first Filipino stoner movie called Super Psycho Cebu. And because he made it during the time of Duterte, he's now here in America trying to promote the movie and also escape from legal things that he told me not to talk too much about. So, we're talking about an legal asylum, secret film, secret funky. I've seen it before. I love this film. And Mitch and a whole bunch of the people who've been guests of the Canna Kuya podcast and some exclusive secret people are going to be invited to our secret backyard screening at our house. But we got to keep it on the DL. But this is our special 420. This is our special 420 24 event, and that's what
it's a celebration.
So more about it. Tell them a little bit more about what we're doing, because it wouldn't be able to happen without you.
So
the projector you're getting for us.
Well, we'll see. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. But yeah, we're planning to just we're planning to have like just like a small screening, friends, family, like some industry professionals and whatnot. Nothing too crazy, but we just want to get together, have a little 420 event. Like 420 is on a Saturday, so can have a little drink, a little smoke, just hang out. Surround ourselves with good company.
A little barbecue because I'll be there barbecuing. It's a secret location unless you know where I live.
Yeah, you don't want people hunting you down. But anyways, we should wrap this up. So anyways, everybody, you've been listening to the Canna Kuya podcast, where we are cultivating conversations concerning cannabis, culture, and creativity. I'm one of your hosts, Mitch Narito.
And I am Eric Esteban. Please, if you like what you hear, leave a review, write comments, hit the like button, whatever media that you interact with while you're listening to this or watching this. Do it. Interact with us so that the algorithm says you should put the Canna Kuyas in everybody's faces. Do it.
And for all Eric the Canna Kuya,
that's Mitch.
And for all the Canna Kuyas and marijuana artists, stay lifted, stay elevated, everybody. Peace.
Yeah.
Peace.
Yeah. Yeah, I got my hoodie on, now peep the chest, says human catalyst. Downtown Chula Vista, on 3rd Ave where I go cop some shit. Fuck a thief, so fuck zoomies, yeah, they whack ass jacket shit. Yeah, I move too swift, so I striking silence. Fuck the violence, man, check my mileage, cause I got driving. First tour, I drove 6 states, never thought I'd be there right by my side, man. What a time it is to be alive. See, I'm charged up, feeling energized, build an enterprise, move supersize. Y'all lecture like a side of fries. Whoa, false guys who you idolize, yeah, go against us, I would not advise. We the highest in the room, just look up once and you can find us. Our song should have more plays, but we too dope, they rewind us. All my targets lined up, every day my girl get fined up. All my clothes is local, bitch, I really rock designer.
Gang, highest in the room, yo, we get fucked up. Ay, you can count on Trey, can't bring the loud pack. Ay, get us in the stew and that's game over. Western Metal Building, that's a home run. Yeah, get the up or leave the fuck a Folgers. Little bitch, I make the beat and drop the full verse. I just hit a steelo, I got dripped up. Package born and raised, bitch, I got dripped up. Y no se compara. Yo estoy con mi pana, se llama Trigger, fumando ganja. Estamos con Cali, fumando en Cali, yo sé que traen ganas. Ella me dice, papi, que terminamos la cama. Highest in the room, yeah, we get fucked up. Ay, you can count on Trey, can't bring the loud pack. Ay, get us in the stew and that's game over. Western Metal Building, that's a home run.
Yeah, we got hits like Tatis and Machado, man, we know you're not a leader. Cause all our moves you just follow, packing big bowls. You know we just scooped up that gelato, cause I smoke killer. My shirt iller, yo, ask our dealer, we the highest in the room, just look up once and you can find us. Our song should have more plays, but we too dope, they rewind us. All my targets lined up, every day my girl get fined up. All my clothes is local, bitch, I rarely rock designer,